far too long, menstruators have been told extreme cramping, heavy bleeding, debilitating fatigue, and gut distress are just a part of being a woman, a menstruator, or an individual who has the ability to reproduce and have children. Now, we are often handed a prescription for hormonal birth control or synthetic pain relievers to mask the symptoms without ever asking the vital question: what is happening in the internal environment to cause this distress? Now, when you understand the biological connection between your gut microbiome, parasitic overgrowth, and hormonal clearance, you move out of feeling powerless and step into biological authority. If you are navigating persistent cycle issues, advocate for yourself.
They been cramping my style all week. Craving chocolate trees, checking pants, checking seeds, sipping herbal tea, and fight for menstrual equity. Hey, I kick Cramp's ass. Kick Cramp's ass. Kick Cramp, hey. 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 You're now tuned in to the Kick Cramp's Ass podcast with your host, Brittany Walker, advocating for menstrual equity, period poverty, and womb wellness. New episodes on Menstruation Mondays.
Happy Menstruation Monday, and welcome back to the Kick Cramp's Ass podcast, where I am your host, Brittany Walker, and we are breaking down the taboo, unpacking the science, and empowering you to take that total ownership of your womb and holistic wellness. Today, we are diving headfirst into a topic that might make you squirm a little at first, but it is absolute dynamite when it comes to understanding chronic unresolved period struggles, parasites, and your menstrual cycle. When most people hear the word parasites, they immediately picture exotic tropical vacations, accidentally drinking contaminated water on an overseas trip, or experiencing severe acute illness. However, the reality of parasitic burden is far closer to home. Parasitic infections are a remarkably common silent disruption existing right here in our everyday environments. And unfortunately, it is far more mainstream medicine typically acknowledges. When these opportunistic organisms take up residence in your digestive tract, they do not simply stop at causing occasional bloating or mild abdominal distress. Instead, they actively hijack your endocrine system, siphon away vital micronutrients, and disrupt your estrobolome, and ultimately send your entire menstrual cycle into chaos. To truly understand why your gut health directly dictates your period health, we have to look at the intricate web of systemic inflammation and hormonal metabolism. Intestinal parasites compromise the mucosal integrity of your digestive tract, creating a persistent low-grade inflammatory state that puts your adrenals on high alert. When your body is forced into a chronic stress response, it prioritizes immediate survival over biological reproduction, disrupting the delicate signaling between your brain and ovaries. At the same time, parasitic overgrowth alters your estrobolome, that specialized colony of gut bacteria responsible for metabolizing and clearing excess estrogen. When this pathway becomes sluggish or dysfunctional, reactivated estrogen recirculates throughout your bloodstream, laying the groundwork for severe cramping, heavy bleeding, intense mood fluctuations, and debilitating PMS. Throughout this episode, we are going to trace this entire physiological chain reaction step by step. We will examine exactly how parasites colonize the gut terrain and the precise biological mechanisms that link intestinal dysbiosis to conditions like dysmenorrhea and heavy menstrual flow or menorrhagia. Now, we will outline the subtle physical and clinical markers you need to pay attention to, from cyclical digestive flares and unexplained iron deficiency to symptom spikes that align with specific biological and monthly rhythms. Furthermore, we'll uncover the everyday environmental disruptors and lifestyle factors that lower your natural body defenses while laying out sustainable holistic strategies designed to support your liver, bile, flow, and elimination pathway so that your body can safely clear these hidden stressors. Now, at the core of everything we discuss on this show is a simple, non negotiable truth: knowledge is power, and educating yourself will always be your best single resource when advocating for your health and well being. Now, when you understand the deeper root causes behind your symptoms, you move away from feeling disconnected from your body and step into total authority over your well being. So take a deep breath, grab your favorite warm tea, and let's dive into the fascinating connection between your gut, your microbiome, and your womb. Now, to center our minds, we like to kick off each episode with the I am power statement, with I representing inspiration, A representing affirmations, and M representing manifestations. And the I am power statement for today is: I am honoring my gut and my womb as sacred centers of intuition, health, and power. Now, before we go ahead and get into this good old episode, we want to take a sip of our Cramp elixir. We're going to cut to our first commercial break, and we will be right back with you.
Tired of clunky remote recordings? Level up with Riverside FM Pro. Get studio quality audio and video, effortless editing with powerful AI tools, and seamless live streaming and collaboration. Become a pro of Riverside.fm and unlock the full potential of your content. Sign up today and make your voice heard. Visit the link in the description of this episode to discover more. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back from that commercial break. We hope that you enjoyed it. Now let's get right back into the heart of this conversation. To truly understand an underlying gut issue transform into a chronic period issue, we first have to take a closer look at what parasites actually do once they cross our physical barriers and enter into the human body. Now, with intestinal parasites ranging from microscopic protozoa like Giardia lamblia and blastocystis hominis to larger helminths such as tapeworms and pinworms enter our systems primarily through everyday exposures like contaminated food, unwashed produce, unfiltered drinking water, direct soil exposure, or even close contact with your household pets. Now, once inside, these organisms anchor themselves directly to the mucosal lining of your small or large intestines. There, they begin to feed on your delicate intestinal tissue, the vital nutrients from your digested food, and the native beneficial microbes that comprise a healthy gut microbiome. As these organisms replicate and establish persistent colonies, they create three massive physiological disruptions that hit the menstruating body particularly hard. The first major issue is the rapid development of intestinal permeability, commonly known as leaky gut, and the resulting cascade of chronic systemic inflammation. Now, as parasites burrow into and feed upon the intestinal wall, they break down the tight junctions that form your gut barrier. Now, this breakdown allows bacterial lipopolysaccharides, undigested food particles, and toxic parasitic waste products to leak directly into your bloodstream. Your immune system responds by launching a continuous low-grade inflammatory state, which signals your adrenal glands to crank up cortisol production. Because the body is wired to prioritize immediate survival over reproduction, elevated cortisol levels suppress the delicate hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis, which is the HPO axis. This breakdown in hormonal communication manifests directly in your cycle as delayed periods, irregular ovulation, or severely heightened premenstrual symptoms. The second major cascade involves the direct disruption of the estrobolome and the onset of functional estrogen dominance. Your gut microbiome houses a specialized collection of bacteria known as estrobolome, which produces a critical enzyme called beta-glucuronidase. Under normal healthy conditions, your liver metabolizes excess estrogen, packages it up, and sends it into the digestive tract to be safely excreted into your stool. However, when parasitic overgrowth causes severe intestinal dysbiosis, beta-glucuronidase actively spikes out of control. This enzyme breaks the bond holding the deactivated estrogen, reactivating it and allowing it to re-enter into your bloodstream. This recirculated excess estrogen leads directly to estrogen dominance, the primary physiological driver behind heavy menstrual bleeding, agonizing uterine cramps, breast tenderness, and accelerated fibroid development. Finally, parasites acts as a literal resource thieves inside your digestive tract, systemically stripping your body of essential micronutrients and driving profound nutritional deficiencies. These organisms consume key vitamins and minerals that your body desperately requires for proper hormone synthesis, thyroid support, and menstrual repair, most notably iron, zinc, vitamin B12, and magnesium. When parasites steal your bioavailable iron, your ferritin levels plummet, leaving you vulnerable to functional anemia. This produces profound fatigue, brain fog, and muscle weakness, while paradoxically making your menstrual flow significantly heavier, creating an exhausting and vicious cycle month after month. Take a moment to digest all of this information and allow it to settle in. We are going to cut to our next brief commercial break, and we will be right back with you to explore the warning signs, root causes, and holistic solutions.
Periods got you down? Kick cramps to the curb with Pilates for periods. Our online program combines targeted Pilates, soothing yoga, calming meditation, and breathwork to help you manage your menstrual cycle naturally. Feel stronger, calmer, and more in control. Reclaim your comfort. Visit Pilates for Periods YouTube page, linked in the description of this episode, and start your journey to a more manageable cycle today. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back from that commercial break. We hope that you enjoyed it. Now, how do you begin to identify whether an underlying parasitic burden might be silently disrupting your menstrual cycle? Because parasites often operate subtly without causing immediate explosive illness, their downstream effects are frequently brushed off or normalized, or even misdiagnosed as generic irritable bowel syndrome or IBS, unexplained anxiety, or simply having bad periods. However, your body constantly provides clues, and learning to interpret both physical and clinical markers can help you connect the dots between your gut environment and your hormonal health. Now, one of the most fascinating physical markers to pay attention to is the phenomenon of symptoms flaring specifically around the full moon. Many intestinal parasites, particularly larger helminths, have reproductive cycles intricately led to lunar and circadian rhythms. During a full moon, human serotonin levels naturally rise while melatonin levels typically dip. Parasites utilize serotonin as a primary signaling molecule to move, mate, and lay eggs within the host. If you notice that your abdominal pain, intense sugar or carbohydrate cravings, heightened anxiety, or even persistent insomnia spike predictably around the full moon each month, your body may be signaling a cyclical parasitic surge. Now, in addition to lunar symptom spikes, pay close attention to cyclical digestive distress, unexplained nutritional deficiencies, and systemic skin or sleep disruptions. Many menstruators experience bloating that worsens significantly during their luteal phase, alternating bouts of constipation and diarrhea, or persistent gas that refuses to clear even with strict dietary interventions. Now, clinically, a hallmark sign of parasitic activity is stubborn iron deficiency anemia or low ferritin levels that fail to improve despite taking high-quality iron supplements or consuming an iron-dense diet. Now, externally, this internal stress often manifests through unexplained skin rashes, sudden eczema flare-ups, or consistently waking up between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., a time traditionally associated in biological rhythms with peak liver filtration and systemic detoxification overload. When combined with sudden onset dysmenorrhea, heavy blood clotting, or irregular cycle lengths without a diagnosed structural cause like endometriosis or PMOS, these markers point strongly towards an underlying gut issue. Now, why are we observing such a wide widespread rise in parasitic overload and gut dysbiosis today. Ultimately, it comes down to modern environmental disruptors systemically compromising our body's innate defense barriers. Now, your first line of chemical defense against ingested pathogens is robust stomach acid. However, chronic physiological stress, widespread use of proton pump inhibitors, and rush mindless eating leads to hypochlorhydria or low stomach acid, allowing ingested parasites to survive the stomach's acid bath and reach the intestines alive. Furthermore, a sluggish liver and stagnant bowel flow remove another critical protective layer, as healthy bile is naturally antimicrobial and acts to neutralize unwanted pathogens. When you combine these factors with constant exposure to industrial agricultural chemicals like glyphosate and pesticides, which degrade gut tight junctions and destroy beneficial microflora, our internal terrain becomes far more vulnerable and making it easier for opportunistic parasites to settle in, colonize, and disrupt our biological harmony. Now, if you suspect parasites are impacting your gut and period health, the goal is to not panic. It's to systemically restore your body's natural terrain. In holistic health, we say terrain is everything. A healthy, resilient gut terrain makes it virtually impossible for parasites to take hold. So here is a multi-phase holistic approach to cleansing parasitic burden and restoring menstrual harmony. Phase 1, we're going to open your drainage pathways, which is super critical. Before you ever use an anti-parasitic herb or protocol, your elimination pathways must be open. If you kill parasites while you are constipated, their dying cellular debris and release neurotoxins will reabsorb into your bloodstream, causing severe die-off reactions, worsening your fatigue, skin, and cramps. So bowel movements, ensure you are having 1 to 3 soft, well-formed bowel movements per day. With your hydration and lymphatics, drink ample water with electrolytes, engage in gentle daily movement, dry brushing, or even sauna sessions. And then with your liver and bile support, incorporate bitter herbs like dandelion root, milk thistle, and artichoke extract to keep bile flowing freely. Phase 2, you want to target botanical antimicrobials and binders. Like herbal medicine offers powerful time-tested anti-parasitic botanicals. You have black walnut hull, which has potent natural anti-parasitic properties. You have wormwood, which disrupts parasite cell membranes, and we talked about wormwood in past episodes, which if you choose to do yoni steaming, things of that sort, then wormwood is super helpful and typically one of the base foundational herbs. Now you can use clove, which is unique in its ability to destroy parasite eggs in the intestinal tract. We have Mimosa pudica seed, which forms like a sticky gel in the digestive tract that physically scrubs the intestinal walls, catching parasites and debris. And then you have systemic binders, using binders like activated charcoal, bentonite clay, or humic or fulvic acids away from meals and supplements to mop up toxins released by dying organisms. And then you have our phase 3, which is rebuild the gut mucosa and restore estrobolome balance. Once pathogens are cleared, focus on sealing the gut lining with the L-glutamine, marshmallow root, and zinc carnosine. Reintroduce spore-based probiotics to diversify your gut microbiome and normalize beta-glucuronidase levels so that your body can metabolize and clear estrogen again. Now, as we let all of this valuable information sit with you, we're going to cut to our final commercial break, and we will be right back with you.
Fly. Do you want? Yeah. Fly. Do you want to fly? Fly. Let go of all the things that hold you down. Used to be so easy.
Now, back to the show.
Welcome back from our commercial break. We hope that you enjoyed it. Now, as we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with this foundational truth. Knowledge is power, and educating yourself will always be your absolute best resource. Far too long, menstruators have been told extreme cramping, heavy bleeding, debilitating fatigue, and gut distress are just a part of being a woman, a menstruator, or an individual who has the ability to reproduce and have children. Now, we are often handed a prescription for hormonal birth control or synthetic pain relievers to mask the symptoms without ever asking the vital question: what is happening in the internal environment to cause this distress? Now, when you understand the biological connection between your gut microbiome, parasitic overgrowth, and hormonal clearance, you move out of feeling powerless and step into biological authority. If you are navigating persistent cycle issues, advocate for yourself. Seek comprehensive testing. So request stool testing such as a GIMAP or comprehensive stool analysis with a PCR testing through a functional or integrative medicine practitioner who understands how to look beyond basic hospital parasite screens. You also want to listen to your body's cadence, track your physical and emotional symptoms alongside your menstrual cycle phases and the lunar cycle. And then also trust your intuition. You know your body better than anybody else does. If something feels off in your gut or your cycle, keep digging until you find the root cause. Now, remember, your period is a monthly vital sign, not a monthly curse. When we heal the gut, we nourish the womb. Now, thank you so much for joining me on the Kick Cramps Ass podcast today. Gratitude to all of you for tuning in today with us on the Kick Cramps Ass podcast. If this episode opened your eyes or resonated with your healing journey, please take a second to subscribe to our show. Like it, share it on your socials, tag us, or even send it to a friend, a family member, or a loved one who needs to hear this information. Also, subscribe to our Pilates for Periods YouTube channel, which offers movement, mindfulness, breathwork, yoga, Pilates, and meditation. Join our newsletter and stay deeply connected to all of the resources, evidence-based tips, and structural health education we drop every single week. This information is located in the description of this episode. Now, if you have any questions or concerns, we are still accepting listeners' mail. Next week is going to be our season 4 season finale, and we're going to be answering all of the questions that we have received from the entire season. Feel free to comment on this episode with that information, or if you would like a more intimate or private conversation, feel free to email us at contact@kickcrampsass.org, which is also listed in the description of this episode. Again, gratitude to all of you for tuning in today. We are so proud of you for prioritizing your health literacy and for stepping boldly into your own biological authority. Stay mindful, protect your internal peace, keep learning, and keep moving. We manifest a positive, productive, and peaceful remainder of your day, your week ahead, and your menstrual journey ahead. And we will be speaking to you on next Menstruation Monday. Peace.